the crown. Exhale the hands back to your heart. Take a deep inhalation. Bring the arms alongside the ears. You today from beautiful sunny Sanur, Bali. Hi everyone, I'm Jessica Dinan from Yoga Blossom, and I'm here today with Tiffany Rose at Lacombe Yoga in Lacombe, Alberta. And today we're going to be talking about yoga for anxiety, and Tiffany is going to be leading me through a yoga for anxiety class. So, thanks so much for having me, Tiffany. I just wanted to open up by asking you, what is yoga for anxiety?
So yoga for anxiety is a collection of postures or asanas, breathwork or pranayama, meditation, and what I like to call tools that people can use and see how it works for them and decide which tools they find helpful and which tools they don't want to use for themselves.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. And so with yoga for anxiety, like what brought you to teaching this specific style of yoga?
So I am one of the only empirically trained PTSD yoga instructors in Alberta. And so I quite often create adaptive yoga for people who are living with the effects of trauma. And also anxiety happens to be one of the things that comes along with PTSD. So with that training and with my own personal experience dealing with my own anxiety, I developed this program for people who specifically live with the effects of an anxiety disorder, or even people who have undiagnosed anxiety, just to use those tools to try out. And yeah.
Cool. So with the yoga for anxiety class, I know you were talking about different forms of anxiety that this would be helpful for, and you said that it doesn't have to, you don't have to go to your doctor and get a prescription or anything, or get diagnosed saying that you have a form of anxiety to attend the class. But is it, would it be helpful for people that maybe aren't identifying as anxious people or as having anxiety specifically? Would it be helpful for those people to come and partake in the class also?
Yeah, I think one of the misconceptions, or at least one of the things that I try to clarify with my teaching, is that like a yoga for anxiety class isn't some specific magical formula that only works for anxiety. It's taking yoga and understanding it through the lens of anxiety. So anybody can try these tools and try them out and see what works for them. But sometimes if you're living with anxiety, it's really hard to get out and do things. It's really hard to convince yourself to go and join a class where there's going to be other people, and it can be pretty intimidating. So I think having a class that is specifically targeted to anxiety sometimes can bring feelings of relief for people if they're experiencing anxiety about even just going to a class.
Okay, awesome. Well, it sounds really exciting. I'm excited to get to try a class. So we're going to go into the studio, and Tiffany is going to guide me through a yoga for anxiety class, a brief one, and then you can follow along with us. But Tiffany does offer these specific yoga for anxiety classes here at Lacombe Yoga in Lacombe, Alberta. So if that's something that you would be interested in coming to the studio here and engaging in practice with her, by all means, check out her website and find out what time the classes are happening, and she would love to see you. And we're going to go practice. Hello again, yoga friends. So we're here at Lacombe Yoga. Tiffany, lovely Tiffany Rose, is going to lead me through a yoga for anxiety practice. So feel free to follow along with us.
All right. So we'll get started by coming into your most comfortable seat. So whatever that feels like for you, if you want to sit cross-legged, or if you want to have your legs straight, you're welcome to do whatever works for your body. Hands can rest wherever you'd like them to, palms up or palms down, doesn't matter. You could have your eyes open or closed. If your eyes are open, you might want to find a gaze point, or what we call a drishti point, to stare at, maybe a spot on the floor. And we'll just start by noticing that we're breathing. So just notice that you're breathing. One of the things that can happen with anxiety, especially if we are having a stressful moment or an anxiety attack, is that our breath can be just solely in our chest. So we're taking really shallow, short breaths. And so as you start to notice your breath, you might start to notice the quality of your breath. You might notice if your breath is slow or short. You might notice where the breath is traveling to in your body. So is your breath primarily in your upper chest? Is it moving down into the low belly? Or maybe even noticing if your breath is traveling into your ribs and your back. So just taking a moment here to notice your breath. You don't have to change your breath in any way, and it's really important that you don't create any judgment around what you notice. So there's no good or bad. We're just noticing. Maybe noticing if you're breathing in and out through your nostrils or your mouth. In yoga, we typically breathe through the nose, but if you have a stuffy nose or it doesn't feel comfortable for you, you can always breathe through your mouth. And if you've been living with the effects of an anxiety disorder for a long time, that can create patterning in your breath. And what that means is that your breath stays in a specific pattern. So you might be stuck in that upper chest breathing, that fast upper chest breathing. And so one of the things that's important to acknowledge is that we don't want to make too many changes too quickly. So if you breathe primarily in your chest and you'd like to start working on moving the breath into the rest of your lungs, we want to progress really slowly so we're not shocking the nervous system or shocking the body. So as you inhale, what you might start to do is just notice if you can take a little bit more of an inhale. So taking that first breath in and maybe adding a tiny little bit of breath to it. And then as you exhale, seeing if you could add a little bit of length to your exhale. And just noticing how that progression happens for you. If you can extend your inhale and your exhale just a little bit. Sometimes it's helpful if you need a touch point in your body. You could take your right hand to your chest and your left hand to your belly. So just placing your right hand on your chest and your left hand on your belly, just for a little bit of a touch point. And as you inhale, you might try to move your breath first into your right hand at your chest, and then feel the breath travel downward into your left hand on your belly. And then as you exhale, maybe exhaling first from the left hand on your belly, and then the right hand on your chest. And here you might be able to feel how your breath moves your body. So feeling the breath moving your ribs, your chest rising. And if it's available to you, you could begin to invite some softness into your body, maybe by separating your upper and lower teeth from one another. You could try to soften the muscles around your eyes, maybe even the space around your ears. And as you invite the softness, notice if it's possible to maybe lengthen your breath a little bit more here. Again, we don't want to use force or push the breath. So if you're forcing the breath to lengthen, see if you can back up a little bit. We want to try to avoid any pulling the breath in with the nostrils or pushing the breath out with the nostrils, so the breath is moving really slowly and smoothly. And we try to avoid any criticisms or judgments that might pop up. So as those things pop up for you, you might just notice that they're popping up and then come back to the breath without any judgment. And you can release your hands down, and we'll use one of our props. So we'll use a strap. Now, if you don't have a strap at home, you could always use a leather belt. And what you'll do is slide your belt behind your back just around your ribs, and we'll just use it as another tool for breath awareness. So you're going to take that your strap, and cross it in front of you, holding onto it with your hands. And you'll just have a little bit of a snugness with that belt. And then as you inhale, you'll notice that your breath moves the strap. As you exhale, that strap moves back together. So just another tool for breath awareness. This time focusing in on the ribs. So you might feel the breath moving your ribs to the sides, pressing into that strap as you breathe. And again, we're maintaining that soft jaw, soft eyes. And we'll take one more breath here. And we'll release the strap. Just moving that out of the way. As you come back, we'll take both hands to the low belly. So if you were to, in your mind's eye, sort of imagine what your lungs look like, you could see that at the top it's sort of smaller and then the lungs become a little bit wider. So the bottom portion of the lungs actually has the most capacity for breath, but when we experience anxiety, we tend to breathe in the chest. So the hands on the low belly, we're going to try to send the breath into that low belly really gently. So as you inhale, breathing deeply into your low belly. As you exhale, breathing deeply from that low belly. So just noticing all of the different places that you can breathe into in your body. You might even feel that breath moving into the back, the ribs in your back moving. You might even feel your shoulder blades moving like angel wings as you breathe. And we'll take one more breath here. And then releasing your hands back into your lap. The jaw is still soft, the eyes are soft. Deep breath in, deep breath out. So we'll do one more exercise with our breath work and then we'll move on. So sometimes working with the breath, you might need a visual to help you. So we're going to work with a mudra called the lotus mudra. That is a visual exercise to work with the breath. So how that works is you bring your hands together, your thumbs and your pinky fingers connect, and then the rest of your fingers are wide. And you can bring the hands up to your eye level. As you take a breath in, your lotus petals are going to expand, and as you exhale, you'll slowly bring your fingertips together, touch the tops of your nails together, and then slide your fingers all the way down like the lotus stem into the muddy waters. And then as you inhale, that lotus begins to travel up from the muddy waters to the sunlight as the lotus petals expand. So we'll do that again. Exhaling, those fingertips come together, and the fingers slide down the stem of the lotus into the muddy waters. And as you inhale, that lotus travels up toward the light and expanding. We'll do that one more time. Moving in time with your own breath. Exhale down. And inhale up. And you can release your hands down to your lap. And it might feel good just to bring a little bit of movement into your body since we've been sitting still for a while. We'll begin to make our way up to standing when you're ready. So in your own time, we'll make our way up to standing. You can move your pillows or bolsters out of the way if you were sitting on something. So coming up to standing, we'll come into what's called Tadasana, or the mountain pose. So typically in mountain pose, the feet are about hip bone width distance apart. So if that works for you, it might feel good to take a little bit of a spread in your toes and get really grounded through your feet into your mat. And then we'll bring the shoulders just over top of the hips. So standing so that your body weight is stacked over top of your ankles, your knees, your hips, and your shoulders. And bring the back of your skull over top of the back of your tailbone, maybe reaching down through your fingertips if you'd like. We'll take a big breath in and big breath out. And just noticing how your body feels here, noticing where your thoughts are, what your breath is doing. And so we'll start by taking the right hand, and what you're going to do is just start to brush your right hand down your left arm. So just brushing, kind of like you're brushing off any gross stress stuff that you don't like anymore and you want to get rid of. Just brushing down your arm. You can turn your arm over, brush that off, get rid of that, and then we'll do the other side. So just brushing down your arm, and we'll turn it over, brush down the other side. Good. And then we'll start by taking our hands to our forehead, sliding them all the way back and brushing off at the back of the skull. And just brushing off any stress or tension. It's also stimulating, kind of like a massage. So for the nervous system, stimulating. You can do your face if you want to, just brushing off your forehead and then under your eyes, across your jaw. You can brush down your neck and your chest, down your sides, your belly, your back, and then down your legs, your feet, backs of your legs. We're just brushing off and noticing how your body is responding to this. So again, like we said earlier, these are just tools that may or may not work for you. So just noticing how your body responds. And we'll come all the way back up. We'll just take a breath, take a moment here. Notice how your body feels. The next thing we're going to do, I learned from a very good friend of mine. It's called tapping. Have you done tapping before? So you'll take a soft fist and find a line up your arm, just tapping up your arm. And then down the center, and then the outside of your arm. And we'll flip the hand over, do the same thing. The other side, just tapping gently up and down the other side. And then we'll do the right arm, so tapping up. And down, and up again, and then the inside line of your arm, and down the center line, and up. Good. And then you can come to your forehead, tapping on your forehead, really gentle as well. And then up into your scalp, back of your scalp, behind your ears. If you want to go into your temples, you can even do a little bit at your jaw if you wanted to. Come down into your jaw. Good. And then we'll start by tapping into the chest. So you could do a little gentle fist or your fingertips if you wanted to. Up the chest and down, across the collarbones. And then we'll take soft fist to the back and we'll just do a little bit of a tapping on the back ribs. So just tapping through the back ribs. And then down your back into your glutes, into your hips. Good. And then we'll go down the front line. So you find a front line down your leg. You could do both at a time or one at a time if you wanted to. Just tapping up the outside line. Good. And then we'll come back up to standing. My favorite is my hips. Love that. That's good. Coming back to your Tadasana. We'll take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. So notice how your body feels. You might feel a little bit of effervescence, like a little bit of a bubbly feeling, kind of. Just noticing how that feels. Good. And then this one is my favorite. It's kind of silly. So this is what I call discharging. So one of the things that happens in the animal world is animals will come into conflict with each other. They'll resolve that conflict and then they'll just shake it off and move on with their lives. But because in our society we don't really do weird things with our body out in public, so we don't really often get that opportunity to just shake things off. So sometimes if there's anxiety that's situational, like say you had a really stressful day at work, it might be really helpful to shake that off, but because we don't do that culturally, sometimes we hold on to that tension and we take it into the next day with us. So this is a discharging tool that you can try after you've had an anxiety-causing situation or a stressful situation, and see if it helps you feel like you've shaken it off and just left it behind. So how we start is just by shaking out the right hand. So you shake out your right hand, you can get wild with it, shake it out, and then you add your arm. So it's kind of like the hokey pokey.
I remember the hokey pokey.
Just shaking your arm, just shake, shake, shake. And then let your arm be still and notice the difference between your right arm and your left arm.
I can feel it.
Yeah, my right arm feels really bubbly and my left arm feels kind of silent.
Yeah.
So we'll shake out that left hand. Shake, shake, shake. Shake your arm. Shake it, shake it, shake it. And then let it become still and notice the difference between right and left. Good. And then we'll shake the right foot. So if you need to hold on to something here, you could hold on to a chair or the wall. You're just going to shake your right foot out. And then we'll shake the leg too. I know, it's tricky. Kind of think of yourself like a dog getting its ear scratched. And then notice the difference from side to side. A little bit of effervescence in your right leg, yeah. And then we'll switch sides. So shifting your weight into your right leg, maybe holding on to something for stability. We'll shake that left leg out. And then adding that leg as much as you can. Good. And then noticing the difference from side to side. Okay, this is the best part. Shake your whole body. Shake it out. Shake, shake, shake. Get your head involved. Shake your hands, shake your feet. And then stop. So notice how you feel. Notice what your breath did. And notice where your mind is at. So see if you can get your breath back into that slow pace. See if you can feel your heart rate. Mine's up a little bit, yeah. So seeing if you can get your breath to bring your heart rate down. And then when you feel ready, we'll come down to seated. So in your own time, in whatever way makes most sense to you. So we have these rubber balls that we're going to use. If you have tennis balls at home, or golf balls even would work, I think. Probably, yeah. So what we're going to do is take the balls in our hands. We'll have to avoid our mics here. You're going to take those balls and you're going to place them on either side of your sternum into your chest. Now you can take your hands and press them in, take a big breath in. And as you exhale, press into the balls gently and roll them to the outside of your chest. We'll do that again. Inhale to the center line. Press in with your hands as much as feels good for you, and roll them to the outside. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And you can do an audible exhale out the mouth if you'd like. One more time, exhale. Perfect. Okay. So sometimes the chest can be the house of anxiety for us. So we're holding our breath, there's a lot of tension in the chest. So even just a little bit of pressure into the chest can be really helpful. We're gonna lay down on our backs. So maybe what I'll do, Jess, is I'll get you to hold on to your balls.
Okay.
And what you're gonna do is turn so that you've got space behind you, and you'll take your balls on either side of your spine to the inside of your shoulder blades, just below your shoulder girdle.
Maybe I'll put my hand this.
All right.
All right. And then,
So either side of your spine to the inside of your shoulder blades. So you can either do what Jess is doing, or you can hold them and then lay back with them.
okay.
Are they in the right spot? Does it feel okay?
Yeah, it feels
Either
all
side
right.
of your spine? Okay. So she's laying with her knees bent, and she's got her hips resting on the floor. Her shoulders are resting down toward the floor, and she's got those balls on either side of her spine. Now, these are really dense, hard rubber balls, and some people find them painful. So you are welcome to use softer balls if you'd like. And what we're going to do here is just stay for a few breaths, noticing what the breath is doing. Seeing if we can slow the breath down. And then as you're breathing, see if you could invite some softness into your jaw, maybe by separating your upper and lower teeth from one another. Maybe you could soften your fingers, your toes. And then take a moment and see if you can notice if your body's automatic response to the stimulus of the balls beneath you was to press away or to soften into. So did your automatic response to the balls, was it to move away from them or to sink into them? And that's kind of a cool metaphor for life, is when we have new stimulus or new situations or situations that we're not sure about, do we push away from them or do we sink into them? And one of the things that you can work with over time is discerning whether it's actually right to sink into them or to push away from them. Because there's some situations that are too high anxiety that we want to avoid. And there are some situations that we can go into and challenge our anxiety a little bit and try to get ourselves to move in a little bit deeper. So over time, those are things that we can start to discern as we work. So taking the deepest, slowest breaths that you can, the most comfortable breath that you can. If it feels available to you, as you exhale, you might start to imagine that you're melting a little bit into the balls. So seeing if you can soften down, if that's available to you. And you do this by using your breath mostly and inviting softness into the rest of your body. So softening fingers, toes, jaw, eyes, forehead, ears, scalp. And then also observing the mind. So watching the thoughts that come in and out without engaging, without creating any judgment. We just watch what the theme of our thoughts are. It might be interesting to have a journal handy to write down anything that you notice, if there's a persistent theme to your thoughts, if there's something that you can't get out of your mind. We'll take one more big breath in, one more big breath out. And then if you're able to, just reach behind you and move those balls out from underneath you, or if you need to sit up to get them out, that's fine. We'll come to laying flat on the back. And if you'd like to, you could bring your knees into your chest, give yourself a little squeeze, maybe rock from side to side if that would feel good. We'll take another deep breath in, another deep breath out. And when Jess is ready, she can release her feet to the mat. And I'm just going to come over and I'm going to place a bolster underneath her knees. If you have a pillow, you can place that pillow under your knees. She's going to let her knees rest on that pillow. I've got a little blanket I'm going to put over her feet so her feet don't get cold. And then I've got this really nice heavy sandbag. And I'm going to just place it across her chest, if that's okay with you, Jess. So I'm going to place it across her chest. And if you have a sandbag at home, you might want to try this. A little bit of a DIY tip is you can just fill a Ziploc bag with sand and wrap it in a towel. So the weightedness on the chest can be really nice, especially if you have a lot of anxiety living in your chest. If you don't like it across your chest, you could put it across your hips. Some people like it lengthwise as well. How does that feel for you? Is it okay?
Feels good.
Okay.
Yeah, it feels really nice.
So what we'll do here is just start to notice the breath. So noticing if we can slow the breath down again. Noticing if you can invite some softness into your jaw by separating your upper and lower teeth from one another. Maybe even softening your tongue down and the roof of your mouth rising gently up. You can imagine that you're cradling a robin's egg at the back of your throat just to create a little bit of space behind your throat. And as you begin to notice the pressure of that sandbag or the weight on your chest, notice how that's impacting the traveling of your breath, so how your breath travels into your body. Does it move your breath more into your belly, into your back? Does it make more space available for breath in your body? And so this posture is called Shavasana, or final relaxation. And oftentimes, if you go to a yoga class, it's cued as something that you remain completely still in. But oftentimes, people who have anxiety, remaining still can actually be quite challenging, if not disturbing, because you're alone with your thoughts. And if you can't get your thoughts to slow down, or if you can't focus on your breath, then it kind of can feel like you're trapped alone in your mind. So it's important for you to know that even in Shavasana, if you need to bring some movement into your body, you are totally welcome to do that. You can wiggle your fingers, your toes, you can rock your knees back and forth. You can even have your eyes open if you'd like. So whatever works for you. And in Shavasana, we work to try and move into that space between awake and asleep, where we're in deep relaxation so that our nervous system can absorb all of the benefits of the work that we've just done. So focusing in on your breath, it might feel good to focus in on the sensations of your nostrils as they enter, as your breath enters, and the sensations at your nostrils as the breath exits. And again, we're not pulling the breath in or pushing it out, we're just noticing the soft movement of breath in and out. You can stay in Shavasana for anywhere from 5 minutes to 10 hours if you want to. So beginning to bring some movement back into your body by wiggling your fingers and your toes. It might feel good to rock your chin from side to side. Maybe you'd like to take a pencil stretch like you're just waking up in the morning. And then if you do have any props on your chest, you might just gently move them to the side. And then you could bring your right hand to cradle your head and roll to your right side. Other right. Using your arm to support you as you come up to seated, really gently and slowly, taking your time. So coming into your most comfortable seat, just like we started, bringing your palms together, create a seal for all of the beautiful prana or energy that you created through your breath and your movement. We'll take a deep breath in together, a deep breath out. Just noticing how you feel now compared to how you felt when you began. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of your yoga journey. The very best in me honors and acknowledges the very best in you. Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you so much, Tiffany, for leading us through that practice. I feel amazing, and I hope everyone at home watching feels amazing too. And we look forward to seeing you again on your yoga mat, on your yoga chair, at home very soon. deep inhalation. Bring the arms alongside the ears. Cue today from beautiful